Absolutely. I take the money while it's on the table. I'd always, be biased towards getting an education, especially in light of what we see or what you've seen in the job market, right? What's your major?
Computer science and engineering.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, you're seeing right now, I mean, there's a bubble in computer science and computer science engineers. I mean, everybody, I remember, going back, I mean, it was, when I was in high school, it's, you have to do something in computers. You have to. There's a shortage. Engineers are going to make tons of money. Everybody goes into those fields, and then now, of course, what happens? We see now that there has to be a recession, quote unquote, in demand for that, and so it hurts, And so if the net is at the end of the day, you can graduate with your undergrad and then go into your master's or your graduate degree and get that free money at 3%. Where hopefully if you're wise enough, and it sounds, I mean, you're listening to this program on New Year's Eve, so you've got at least there you got a good head on your shoulders. So look at the result. You can invest the funds that the earnings that you'll have, put them overseas. Put them in gold, put them in precious metals. Are you in the markents right now at all? Have you had the opportunity?
Yeah. No, I will admit that I'm in a good position for a college student. I went to school locally, and I got a pretty generous scholarship, so I've been able to stay out of debt. And since I did a few internships, I had some money to invest, actually. So.
Yeah, and Nick, I always wanted to make the point that, the job market's bad, but, it's not necessarily bad everywhere. As we go to this shift, and I mentioned that this country is looking, or this country in the year 1900 looks like China, there's comparisons there. But, you see what Jim Rogers did moving to Singapore. You see that there is a need for computer science majors in Asia. And I think if you can make yourself more marketable to the global economy, you can get a job in Dubai, after you get an advanced degree, and you can earn your money tax-free.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's opportunities, but really what we have to consider with globalization and with broader communication with Asia and throughout the world is we have to compete with them for jobs. And we have to do whatever we can to better ourselves to compete with them. And so if you do that, and, it's tough, Nick, because when the economy is bad, that's when it gets even more competitive to go to school. If you want to give me a call later on, too, my brother just finished school at Columbia, and, he's a whiz at the application process, so he can maybe give you some tips on how to write an application, or if you want to go to that school, maybe get you in touch with a professor or something. So
your brother's going to write his application.
Advice. Okay, he just did it. He just finished. So,
Nick, is there anything else you want to add? We appreciate you calling in. The other thing too is I might say, as Peter in the latest book. I'm sorry, that's just really fun. In the latest book, Peter talks about a few jobs that might be do well in a global slowdown. And so there's always the merchant marines. Let's go to a caller in New York. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, thanks for taking my call. My question: I've been out of college a year and a half. I have a stable job, but I wasn't aware of all the economic crisis. I just woke up to it reading Peter's book. So my situation is, well, I've college debt. I have the credit card debt from college, so I really don't have much money to invest. But what would you recommend for someone like me who's been out of work? Out of college and working for a year and a half and still paying off like debts from college.
Are your loans? I mean, what kind of interest rate do you have?
Well, I have a fixed college loan interest rate. It's not much. It's like fixed at what?
It's probably less than inflation. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the good news. The bad news is, you don't have the earning power right now. It's as we just told Nick. What are the opportunities for graduate school for you? That's always an option. I hate to just defer to that answer. Keep getting your education. Pretty soon we're going to have a lot of highly educated people, still unable to find work if we continue down this path where the government is misallocating the resources and taking away funds and jobs from the free market and putting it towards what they feel is best, ultimately. And so, I certainly hope that, in your spare time, that you're advocating for a policy, similar to what Peter talks about, Austrian School of Economics, Ron Paul, understanding that, look, the government, who was it? British economic secretary said, it's not that the government picks winners, it's the losers pick the government. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that with GNBC, with the big three, with the banks. It's this misallocation of funds by governments, this idea, this belief that some bureaucrat pushing a pencil in Washington, D.C. knows more about, whatever business you might be in, that ultimately leads us into these positions. And so,
no, I totally agree. I've been reading up on Rothbard's book, which is great. But my question was about what investment advice would you give? Like, I can't buy the $10,000 press mint right now. I'm not, because I don't have much savings. So what investment?
Well, a good place to start would be with the precious metals. It's hard to get a diversified portfolio with the small amount that you have, but be in gold. At least you're going to preserve your purchasing power. Whatever amount that you have, you can buy it. You can buy maybe a broad gold mining stock or even an index of gold mining stocks.
There is a real, and just to follow up with this, precious metals is absolutely a real physical precious metals is absolutely the foundation that you want to start with. And being as young as you are, I would absolutely start with silver. You can buy junk silver. You may not have $10,000, but you don't need $10,000 to buy a substantial amount of silver. And right now there's a real perception, and silver is certainly being priced on the fact that it is an industrial metal, and that there's a lot of negativity towards the economy certainly moving forward, and which of course is reflected in the price of silver. So it's more volatile than gold because of its use as an industrial metal, but also has the potential to be much more lucrative. So at this point, I would consider just buying a bag of junk silver, and start your investment career modestly. But you have no idea how many clients I have or talk to, in their 50s or 60s, and they tell me about back in 1980 or back in 75 when they were buying silver and gold and they had coins, and a lot of them still have that stuff, and it provides a safety net. It provides a sense of security. It creates for you the habit of saving what is real and tangible, as opposed to speculating and looking at the markets as gambling. And the fact that you're reading Ron Paul's book, I also would refer you to the Ludwig von Mises Institute. That's actually located in Auburn, but it's online. Just Google Austrian economics. I think
I love Rothbard. I love Rothbard.
Yeah. Did you read the Great Depression or the Problem with the Fed? One of those?
I just finished reading the Case Against the Fed and the Case for $100% Dollar. I just got the book, America's Great Depression, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's great.
Can I ask a small question? Last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been buying like foreign currencies and stocking. And what do you think of buying up foreign currencies from like local banks and stocking up on those, and also storing food for the hyperinflation that's coming up?
Well, if you go through a local bank, you have to make sure that you cut out the middleman. The best thing to do is just go and get the foreign bonds and make sure you're at least making some interest. Now when you consider the interest rates you're getting, in this country close to 0%, but even in Australia and New Zealand, you're getting 3.5%. When the year started, our strategy was to buy gold through the Perth Mint. We buy equities, we buy bonds, but it's harder and harder to buy bonds with the low interest rates. But certain currencies have held up. The yen is up 20%. The Swiss franc is up 10%. I don't really know what fees would be involved with a small amount of money, but you could buy. There are funds that hold these currencies that you can buy. Through any dealer, and you could put a few $100s into it. They pay you a small interest rate. I think if you buy, the FXA, which is Aussie dollar, you might get 2%. But you begin diversifying out of the dollar that way. But again, I would say start with the precious metals, like John talked about junk silver. It's great. Go to a website, coinflation.com, and you see, the metallic price of dimes pre-1950, the metallic price of nickels, from 2 decades back, and the metal is worth more than the face value of the coin right now. So you buy these coins, you buy the silver itself, and in time you're gonna be able to buy more than you can today, and that's the whole point of investing. Maintaining your purchasing power, being able to buy more in 2009 than you could in 2008.
I absolutely agree. Okay, let's go to Jay in Toronto. Happy New Year, Jay. You're on the air. Jay, are you with me?
Hey, Jay.
Can you hear him?
No.
Jay in Toronto. Happy New Year. All right, Jesse in Alabama. Jesse, you're on the air. Can you hear me, Jesse?
Yes, how you doing?
Good.
Happy New Year. I had a couple questions. First of all, I was wondering if it'd be helpful for Peter if me and about 100 of my closest friends wrote some letters to CNBC and we basically asked them to kick this Jim Cramer asshole off the air and replace him with an hour-long show of people.